Shiur number 2, L'zeich Nishmas, my father, Rabbi Chil ben Zion ben Reb Dov, and my mother, Mindel Bas Rabbi Yisrael, in Shemazal and Aliyah. We said before, in the first year, the concept that Yitzchak was in a place where he had to, in order to have a child with Rivka, he had to do something crazy. He had to do vayatar, he had to dig underneath the walls, more than tefillah. There was a problem. Why? Because Rivka kiakarehi, she could not have children according to nature. And there was a separate problem that besides for doing a miracle for someone, the problem also was that Hashem promised Yitzchak children, ki bi Yitzchak yikar lechazara. Hashem promised Avraham Avinu that Yitzchak will have children, but the Malachim said, fine, Yitzchak will have, but doesn't have to be with Rivka. So it was very hard to have a child for Rivka. Ki akarehi. That's why vayetar Yitzchak l'Hashem, he had to dig underneath, which we spoke about in the earlier shiur, in order to give her a child, because ki akarehi, because she could not have children, not ki sagar rachma, that she wasn't getting pregnant. She didn't have the kelim, she wasn't shaykh b'chlal to having children. Vayetar le Hashem, and Hashem responded by digging towards him, and then she got pregnant. Says the Nesivas Shalom, the same thing was by Avraham Avinu. Sarah also was akara ein lo vlad. She didn't have the natural parts to be able to have a child. And what does it say? Vayoytze oisei hachutza. Hashem took Avraham Avinu. This is so beautiful. Listen to this. Hachutza, outside. Vayoymer habeit na. Listen to the word habeit na hashamayim. Look at the sky. Usfar hakoichavim, and count the stars. And just like you can't count the stars, koi yezaracha. Listen how he's going to take each part of this and give us a different insight and how it could apply to our lives. Ooh, beautiful. Let's do it again. Vayoytze oisei hachutza. Parsha pshat means you're in your house, you can't see stars. So he said, come outside your tent, which we're going to learn hachutza does not mean that. But Parsha pshat means go outside of your physical tent. And then he says, look at the Shemayim, which we always think, and I always thought, look up at the stars. But it doesn't say look up, re'eh, it says habeit. Remember that word, because it doesn't mean what you think it means. Look at the skies, count the stars, kai yezaracha, b'pashtus we always thought means, so too you will have countless stars. Not what he's going to say it means. I mean, that's Parsha Pshat, of course. That will be countless, but listen to what he says. Chazal teach us in Bereshis Rabbah. Vayoytze oisei hachutza, Hashem took Avraham Avinu out, hoitziu michalaloi shel olam. He took him out of the halal of the world. It means Hashem created, there's like sky, right? There's above the sky also. Then there's the sky, the heavens, then there's earth, right? There's a world. There's physicality. There's a physical, natural world with gravity and all kinds of other fun stuff. In that world, Sarah is not having a kid. So, in order to save them, Vayoytze oisei hachutza, Hashem took Avraham Avinu out of the world, not out of his house, out of the world. Okay, that's number one. Watch this. Hoitziu michalaloi shel olam v'higbiu lemala minei kochavim, and he went ahead and he raised them above the stars. Ulamala mekipas rakia, and above the dome of the rakia, which is above the stars. Okay, so we have earth, we have sky, then we have sun, which is like 90 million trillion billion miles away, something like that, 90 million miles away. And then we have the galaxy. All of that is still in this circle of universe. And that's all, by the way, nature, because if the stars would bump into each other, there's a nature for them also. And how they turn and where they go and the lights and all. We don't understand. I don't understand. But it's also part of this video game, this app, this app on the phone that Hashem called Universe. Okay, in the universe, Sarah can't have a kid. So vayoytze oisei hachutza, he took him above. How far above? So imagine you go. We've seen from the moon what the world looks like. A little tiny Earth. No, even higher than the moon, even higher than the galaxy, above the dome of the rakia. So now, we thought that Vayoytze oisei hachutza means that Hashem said, I'm taking you out of your house, look up at the stars. Now we say no. Hashem took him out of the entire universe And then what does it say? Vayomer, and Hashem said, Habeit na hashamayma. Look at the stars. We always thought, look at the heavens and count the stars. We always thought, look up. He says, no. Here it is. De'ein habata ela milmala lamata. Whenever it says the word habata, it's from up down. It means that we always thought, go outside and look up at the stars. No, it would say re'ei esakechavim. Look, gaze, a lot of different words. But habata is always look down. How are you looking down? Because he took him above the entire heaven. Above all the stars. You know, like we are looking down at the stars. We see like 1,000 stars. You also could see that from the other way. Above, look down and you'll see the galaxy as well. Totally different than Parsha Pshat. And this is based on the Bereshis Rabbah. He took him out of the galaxy, out of the universe, and says, look down at the koichavim. V'hainu, lefisha sara lehoisi yichayla lohai lidbonim al pi hateva. Rak lamala min hateva. Same problem. Sarah ain't lo vlad. She didn't have the parts to have children. She could not have children according to any nature, not just the natural tendency of the world, but of the whole universe, the way it was created. There are rules. She couldn't have it. The Gamkain, and we had the same problem. There were Ketrugim. They were prosecuting angels that said, why do we have to change the nature of Sarah? He could have children, Avram could have children from a different woman, like he did. He had children with Hagar. But Avram wanted to have with Sarah, because she needed to be the mother of Klal Yisrael. We see how the children of Hagar didn't work out that great. He wanted Sarah to have children. He needed Sarah to have children. Therefore, Hashem pulled him out. He made a hole, took him above all of the katrugim, all of the angels and things that are created between us. There's a system. We don't see it. Big tzaddikim, maybe they see it. We don't see it, but there's a system. Hashem pulled him above the entire system. And therefore, he said, come outside, look down, and now watch for the next piece. Ask the Nesivas Shalom, why did all of our imahos have trouble getting pregnant? Why did none of them have the ability to just have children? Sarah ein lo vlad. Rivka, we saw that she was akarahi, she could not have children. Why was this necessary? Klal Yisrael was built on the avos. Why was it built on imahos that according to nature could not have children? Listen to what he says. Because Hashem created the entire Klal Yisrael above nature. Hashem didn't want any bit of our creation to be done according to nature, because according to nature, we should not exist today. The entire Am Yisrael exists only supernatural. Therefore, we were created with above the nature, supernaturally. Avram hoiledes Yitzchak lamala min hateva. Yitzchak hoiledes Yaakov lamala min hateva. Because the entire creation of Klal Yisrael has to be lamala min hateva, above nature. Lahoidia, to let us know, shekol hanhaga shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu im Yisrael, to let us know that the whole hanhaga, with the way that God deals with every Jew, he hanhaga altivis, is dealing with us above nature. Isn't that beautiful? We would never be around today. We would be gone a long time ago. Take a little nation, persecute them for thousands of years. We're still here with the same Sefer Torah, with the same everything. We're still here. And all the people who persecuted us, the strongest people in the world, they're gone. L'mala min hateva. Look what happened, the Holocaust. They tried to murder every single Jew. A couple of Sheris HaPleita came. I would have imagined that after my father survived the Holocaust alone, his parents were murdered. His aunts, his uncles, his brothers, his sisters, his neighbors, everybody. Everybody. Can you imagine? Echad me'ir, like echad me'mishpacha, shnei me'ir. What would it look like 10 years later, 20 years later, 30 years later, 40 years later? A bunch of poor people just being transferred. Imagine we get thrown out of America, God forbid, and we all have to go to China. You think 50 years later we're going to have money in China? We don't even speak the language. How did they learn a language, make a living, build meistis, have Yiddishkeit? I would think there would be a minyan once every couple of months in someone's basement, broken people, poor people. Look at Klal Yisrael. Where did it come from? Lamala miderech hateva. Moistus, people learning in Koil never happened. Thousands, tens of thousands of people learning, being supported. Unbelievable. Nobody dreamed that this would be possible. If they would show a movie of Klal Yisrael today to the survivors just 70 years ago, even 60 years ago, they would say, you're dreaming. It's Steven Spielberg. It's made up. V'zeu pirish, and that's pshat why it says, Vayomer, Hashem told Avram Avinu, remember, we're up to the last part. Each part of the pasuk is a different meaning. Hashem said, Habeitno, look down at the Shemayim. You're above it. Usfar hakoychavim, and count those stars. Koi yezaracha. So too will be your children. Hainu, shezaracha gam yeh lemala min hakoychavim v'kipas harakia lemala min hativius. Just like you are now above the stars, above the world, above the nature, looking down. And that's why you could have children even though you couldn't do it according to nature and your existence is going to be supernatural. That's what Hashem was saying, they will also exist from above nature looking down. This is an eternal energy, an eternal power. Even at a time that Hashem cannot accept our bakasha and respond to us in the normal, natural way. Yesh li Yehudi derech l'malam min hateva. We have a derech above nature. Al yedei chatira, which we spoke about in the first year, mikayach hapesach shepischay ha'avis hakdoshim, through the door that the avis hakdoshim opened up for us. Now let's go back and let's touch again that pasuk with a geschmack to see the pasuk pshat and what we're learning it now. The pasuk says that Hashem wanted to give him a child. Vayotzei oisei hachutza, pasuk pshat. He took Avram Avinu outdoors. We're learning now pshat. The Bereshis Rabbah says he took him hachutza, chutz from the entire world. Vayomer habetno hashamayim usvara kechavim, and he said, "Look at the stars." We think means look up at the stars and count them. There'll be so many of them. But no, now we know habet means look down at the stars. He took him in a rocket ship. He said, you have a problem down here, above gravity, above nature. He pulled him in a rocket ship above the stars. And he said, count all of this. You see all of this? Ko yezaracha, Parsha pshat, we meant so too will be multitude. No. Ko yezaracha, they will also have the ability of existing lamala miderech hateva. Right, like Hashem pulls Avram Avinu outside of the whole thing. He says, take a look at the universe. How do you like the view from up here? Sfaris hakachavim. Yeah? You're above it all? That's the way it's going to be for your children as well. All of your descendants, all of Klal Yisrael will also be able to be above nature and looking at the galaxy from above. Nature is for Goyim. We are supernatural. We have the ability of being above nature. That's why we were born and created above nature. L'mala miderech hateva. And that was the message to Avraham Avinu. Just like you cannot have children according to Teva, just like your future cannot exist and will not be able to exist in this world according to Teva, Kayazaracha. And that's why Klal Yisrael had to come from women who could not give birth al pi Teva, because our entire creation and our entire existence and our entire relationship with Hashem has nothing to do with Teva. And that's what we have to remember. Sometimes we block ourselves in. We look at, what can I get al pi Teva? We have to remember that we don't exist according to nature. We wouldn't be here. We shouldn't be around. So we have a right, an ability, and koyach nitzchi, an eternal koyach, to dig and to get more than we deserve. And of course, we're not going to start seeing things because Hashem has a natural world. Everything's covered in nature. We're not going to start having these capes and flying around. But look at Klal Yisrael after the Holocaust. Look at the long term. I see people who are almost dead. And you look at them 10 years later, and they're flourishing. How does that happen? L'mala miderech hateva. We have to daven for l'mala miderech hateva. We have to daven and understand that we can. We can do more than just tefillah and just according to nature. Don't limit yourself by asking for what you believe that Hashem can give you. I find sometimes when I have a problem and I daven to Hashem and I say, Hashem, please help me, I start naturally giving Hashem some in case you didn't think of it, this would be a way that you could help me, and that would be a good idea. And then I catch myself like, why am I giving God ideas? First of all, I think he knows whatever ideas I know, but also I'm limiting my ideas by only within nature. Hashem is limitless. Besides that, he could think of other ideas that, of course, that I couldn't think of within nature. Don't even limit yourself to nature. My father told me a vart. I remember this 30 years ago. He told me a beautiful vart. Yitzias Mitzrayim. We come out of Mitzrayim, and we are by the Yam Suf. So what happened? The whole Klal Yisrael is here. There's a bunch of water in front of us. So what they do? They planned. They had meetings. They said, what should we do? Maybe we should break off into two. You'll go this way, we'll go that way. We'll split into three. We'll go straight. We'll fight. We'll this. Everything, every idea they came up with. There was one idea they didn't come up with. That the sea behind us is going to split, and we're going to walk through on dry land, and there's going to be apple trees or whatever stuff, treats coming out, and we're going to have beautiful that, and then the Egyptians are going to come, our enemies, and they're going to be crushed by the water. Das hat mir keinem nicht eingefallen. That we never thought of. Hashem's way of dealing with us is so supernatural, it comes sometimes in ways, this I never thought of. And I see it sometimes in life with people where their situation looks so impossible, so impossible. There's a boy that I know that was unfortunately tormented and molested, abused as a child. And at 16, he was in psych wards, 16, 17, 18, on drugs, psych wards, he was homeless. He was messed up in the head, he couldn't function at all. His wedding was recently. He's clean, he's alive, he's healthy. He married a beautiful girl from a wonderful family, and he has a business, and he's wealthy. I'm like, how did he do that in 10 years from nothing? Begashmius, benafshius, berachnius. You have very intelligent, healthy people going to college for 10 years. They're not wealthy. This guy is wealthy. I mean, his wedding, he paid for himself. His family doesn't have money. He paid for his wedding. I saw pictures of the wedding. We're talking about a $100,000 wedding, easy. He's a wealthy guy. He has like several cars, and he has like the top wife and the top life. And 10 years ago, he was in the dumps. L'mala miderech hateva. Don't limit what Hashem can do for us, because our entire existence is l'mala miderech hateva. We have to dig and dig and dig within ourselves and to get under those walls like we spoke about in the first year. And we should be zaycha to see Yeshua's, refuas, l'mala miderech hateva.